Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in every week to watch my YouTube videos. And I feel now is a good time, now that I'm completing my 12th video with this one. I should have like a constant welcome intro sort of thing at the start. So let me know if you want me to prepare some sort of jingle or something. And yeah, let's get into today's topic. So last week, the video that I made about, which is linked here, so make sure to watch it before you watch this one actually, because this is just an add-on to that video. I shared about how I joined this new workplace and I got some feedback and what were my initial thoughts and how did I process that feedback. And then that led me to realize that that is the way I might process a lot of feedback that I've received over the years. So this video, I'm going to talk about what I do after I get those feedback. How do I process it? What kind of implementations do I do? And I feel it's something that comes naturally to me. Steps that I'm like, not steps, but like the things that I'm going to share to you, the stuff that I do is something natural, something that I can improve more on. It's a good start, but I would like to still share those and improve alongside you all. So hear me out and tell me if you guys also do these things after you get some sort of feedback. And it's a possibility that it might help you all too, because in case you are a person who is a people pleaser or who is a people's person, it would be beneficial for you to watch that also to kind of realize if you have also the same patterns as me. And also for anyone, I think the previous video would be helpful in terms of just kind of processing those initial thoughts, why we react the way we react when we get any feedback, be it internally or externally. So I think last video I really tried to explain that sort of puzzle that goes in our mind, that sort of sub questions or like why do we act in a certain way. So if you want to like kind of probably gather all your thoughts, that's the video you should watch. And probably it will help you kind of think about your own process of feeling and processing feedbacks. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing that I did, and I need to say this as the first one because I am a yapper and this just proves it. The moment I got the feedback, the call ended, I just took a breath and I just like kind of processed all my thoughts and I walked out of the cabin and I went to my desk where I was sitting where there were other colleagues and friends as well. And the first thing that I did was just tell them, hey, I just had a call, a feedback call with my manager, and guess what? This is what something that we spoke about and stuff like that. So basically, I yapped. Isn't this enough proof that I'm a yapper? And I feel that helped me really calm myself down. Like, I wasn't very worked up, but like, it kind of helped me process things better because I was repeating. The more I was talking to people about it, I was repeating the things that we spoke on call. And it just made things clearer in front of my eyes. It helped me to visualize it. And I felt that after I spoke to a lot of people, and mind you, they have to be like the right people or like sort of trust them. They are not like a bad influence. I feel they will also make you show the perspective of the person who gave you the feedback or also walk you in a different direction. Like you might be too much, in your head about the feedback, about the interaction that happened between you and your manager or whoever gave you the feedback, but they will make you show like a different route. And that's when, you will connect dots and you will see things much more clearly. It's very abstract to say like this, but I feel like if you go and talk more about the interaction to other people, there will be different kind of perspectives added and that will really help. And it's not a shame to go up and talk to people that, hey, I received this kind of thing and I was confused about this. I had this question. Why do you think this might have happened? And they will just do their best to give you an answer which may or may not feel like a solution to you. And if it feels like a solution to you, it works. So either way, just go try and talk to people. Just let it all out, basically. Talking is the solution to everything, I feel. Okay, so the second one is more of a reminder rather than an action. It is about feeling to the bit everything that we are going through in our mind after listening to the feedback rather than fighting that feeling. I mean, it's very easy for us, I guess, to just take things very personally to us, but we have to pause there for a moment and see that it's possible that maybe, you know, we have not seen the entire picture or not figured out the entirety, and somebody else is helping us see that other perspective. So if you think like that, and that's when, when I thought like that, I felt a lot more relieved and I felt like it was not a failure that she was trying to point out, but it was more of something that I had missed out. And it's possible because I'll tell you, for people like me who also think that maybe I do understand all perspectives, and in most of the scenarios I do sense a lot of perspectives, but it can happen, and I am trying to make peace with the fact that okay, Trisha, accept the fact that you might miss out on few things, on not all perspectives can come to your mind. You're only human, so the moment you talk to yourself like that, you try to make yourself understand first. I think it gets easier, so then I stop fighting with that feeling. So just a reminder, and I feel like when I spoke like that to myself, because I talk a lot to myself, that helped. I think it's very small, but just making yourself aware of that it a lot easier to accept it, because then you automatically start thinking that okay, this is not how I'm failing, but this is how I can do better and prevent from failing for real later on if I don't act on any feedback. Okay, so the third thing, and I think this is really important, and this is something that you do during that interaction when you are getting that feedback, ideally when it's the end of the person talking, you don't interrupt them in between. But when the conversation is coming to an end, you basically, what I did was that, because I had a lot of questions, right? Because as I mentioned in the previous video that I made, that I felt like after I got the feedback, I felt like I was perceived in a different light than how I wanted the person to see me as. So there was kind of like a breach of equilibrium, like it was not something that I was expecting, right? So naturally, I would have a lot of questions, and I did. And what I did was I just asked them that, and not just ask, I would say, what I started doing was basically explain where I was coming from, not in a way that I was looking like I was defensive. No, I just tried to make conversation, and I just tried to make conversations, and I just said that, okay, I was doing it like this because I thought that this might work, and I thought that this would be the dynamic, this is how I would be perceived. And she understood that, and she was like, yeah, I get it, why you might have done it. Maybe because you do not have experience in this field before. So you did it in this way. But now, important part is like you take this feedback and you do it in a different way than you were doing it. Now, so by me explaining where I was coming from, why I did what I did, and in a very calm way, just putting it up down after the person has finished saying everything, I think that just helped them also understand me better and see me as someone who is ready to like communicate well and just also not keep quiet and just take feedback, but also kind of engage in that feedback and really understand. So I think the trust would increase there because they're seeing that you're trying to make a point of yourself as well, and you're not just like burdened with this feedback that you got and you're like, oh my god, I have to follow this now. But it's also like you're trying to see from your perspective and from their perspective, because you are retelling your story, why you did it, and also kind of saying that, okay, now I understood why you said that, and now I'll be doing it. So you are basically balancing out both of your views, yours and the person who gave you the feedback. But I feel asking questions in that moment, clarifying why you did so without coming off too aggressive or defensive, I think that's really a good way. I feel that that led it into a conversation rather than like a boss and an employee getting like having an interaction about feedback and stuff. But I think that really helps and opens doors and makes you more comfortable also with the person. So next time when you also do mistakes, I feel it'll be helpful in a way that they know where you are coming from, why you have that mindset, or why would you be doing something. But they will also see the progress because you would have implemented some changes after you got the feedback. So they won't be putting you in the box that, oh, she was like this and she's being told to do this. So it's an entire journey that you're putting in front of that person. And I feel that really matters when you show them your side of the story. It's just more empathetic, right? So yeah. And lastly, by questions, what I mean is that just try to ask them. What I did is also I tried to ask my manager is, where was she coming from? Why did she say this about me? What did she notice? Like really make her think also, because like it will just increase that level of understanding between the two people. I think an exchange of your intention and thought process from both the ends is really important. Focusing on those minute details is very important. Sometimes we might think that there are very tiny stuff that you might have noticed which is not important to bring up, or not even during the feedback, like at the start, in the middle of the work, when you were doing before you got the feedback, during the feedback, bring those small things up. I did, and I feel like that has helped me understand my manager better, because I was judging her in a different way than I should be. I felt bad for doing so, but again, after we had that conversation, I felt like we became more real with each other. So share all those tiny details. Every minute detail is important. Just make the conversation, dude. Okay, so the fourth and the final one, of course, this is very obvious that you act on the feedback, but then I think what's even more important is, and this is something that my dad actually pointed it out, that while you're working on the feedback, you're also supposed to show it to the person who gave the feedback that, hey, I am working on the feedback. Because if you don't inform about the stuff that you are changing, it might be possible, if it's very little changes step by step, it's very like it's possible that people don't notice it and they might think that you might not be working on the feedback. So it's very important to keep the person updated about the little changes that you are implementing. And I know this feels like this goes without saying, but a lot of times we don't show up for ourselves and we don't present ourselves, or we feel like we want to be too modest to show that changes, or like always update and be like, that person who is like always telling what they're doing. But I feel it's very important to not be modest here. There's nothing about it. Like nobody is going to actually think about what you're thinking. Not nobody's going to worry that. So I think it's best to put yourself out there and say that, hey, I am working. So step by step update, walking them through the changes that you are implementing is very important, especially with the person that you know that you will be working more in the coming days with that person. You need to keep them updated about the changes. And it only shows that even though you're not there yet, you're not perfect, you don't have to show the final result to them, but like you're trying and you care about it, and that counts a lot. I feel the perception automatically starts to shift, and the next time you will get better feedback and not the same ones. So I think that's really a golden rule, I would say. And thanks, Dad. Shout out to you for pointing this out. And I know it feels common sense, but it might not be so much common. So yeah, that's the end of the video. And I know how everybody says that feedback is really important. It helps us grow and makes us learn more about ourselves. And all of that is true. But what I believe is the most important thing is what we do afterwards with the feedback, how we implement those changes. And what I shared was basically what I do naturally after getting feedback. And I would really love for you guys to also share your process. What do you guys do when you get feedback at this young age? We, I think, are bound to get a lot of opinions of other people on us. So I want to know, what do you feel afterwards? Do you feel agitated? Do you feel angry, motivated? What is that feeling? Share so that even I know your process and I can get to learn from you. And I hope that whatever I shared, if it's something that resonates with you, you also do it. You're not alone. I think we are all in this journey where we are all learning. And if I can share some of my learnings, and you do too, that'll be great. We are all in this beautiful learning curve, learning journey. And oh my God, I sound so philosophical. I look like a teacher too, I feel. But this is all great. So I think we'll come out of it all good, as long as we don't sit with that discomfort, frustration, or feedback, and make it into a conversation, talk it out, and work on it for the betterment of us and others around us. It'll be all good. So see you in the next one. Till then, bye bye.